Yo, welcome to another episode of Me and My Pops.
Hey, what's up, y'all? And you know, as we get started, let me say this first and foremost is that, hey, you guys, we are almost at that 500 mark.
Yeah,
listen. Once we get there, I promise you, I know my time is short, but the stinky leg is about to come out. Oh, we're going to do the stinky leg. Now, that's 500. Now, after we do the stinky leg, I don't know what we're going to do for the other 500, but it's on him. But anyway, you guys, hey, listen, thank you. And most of all, continue to subscribe and push that bell. Bing! With that being said, what's up?
So today, this video is dedicated to Oolong Tay. Hope I'm saying your name right, man. If I didn't, I apologize. He watched a couple of our Do All People, Do All Black People Think Alike, Do All White People Think Alike. Okay. And he wanted us to chime in and do All Asians Think Alike. Let me rephrase that. Do All Asian Americans Think Alike. Okay. You know, I think this would be a good one to do.
I think it would be a good one.
I didn't think about doing it because, me personally, I didn't think that I didn't think we would be, the right people to talk about it. But I guess we could check it out, see what they talk about, and give our opinion on the things they discuss, and see how maybe their life in America is according to ours. Right, what I mean?
And not only that, but the fact of it is that we're doing it because somebody else wants.
Definitely, that's because he wants it.
Because now he can comment, you can and let us know. Roll with it.
Definitely, and if anybody else got video suggestions, please let us know. We'll take a peek. Hey. As long as they're not too
can't be too vulgar, we're trying to keep the channel as clean as we can. We're trying to keep it clean.
Now, if the video is just that inspiring, when we kind of take a quick peek at it, then we'll do it, and we'll put up a parental advisory on it just to let people know it's that way. But we like to just have clean fun, mainly.
That's it.
We just like to have a lot of clean fun. Sometimes pops get dirty, and I gotta wash them off. But but I try to clean them up.
This is who's talking. Come on with it, man.
You ready, Pops?
Let's go with it. Same music, huh?
Yeah, Jubilee, they do some good videos, y'all.
Asian. You mean all Asian?
Yeah, they are. Time out. We gonna pause it real quick. This what I mean about possibly getting dirty sometimes, y'all.
They look... Okay.
They're Asian Americans.
Asian American?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Now, I don't know if that mean they're half Asian and half
American.
American as far as like European descent.
Okay, that's the thing I was trying to say.
But I think some of them can be Thai, some of them can be, Korean. They can be Chinese, Japanese, whatever. But they're all Asian.
Okay.
And they live in America.
Okay.
So the thought is, do all Asian Americans think alike?
Okay, I got it.
So they are Asian.
Okay,
how you
but
tell folks they ain't Asian? Exactly.
Yeah,
how about that?
How about that?
Can't deal with you sometimes.
Come on, where
you go fishing? So
I'm going fishing. Be there.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Asian food is better than American food. 3.
Asian food is better than American food.
In a way, I do believe it is. Look at the size they are. Look over there.
Wait, describe American food though. I just thought of hamburgers and like American food.
Meatloaf and stuff.
Yeah, meatloaf and mashed potatoes and stuff. So I'm like, of course Asian food's better than that.
I was just denied Asian food for a long time. My mom wanted to be Caucasian. She wanted me to grow up as a white person. And I think I was maybe 10 or 11 when I truly experienced Korean cuisine. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing.
What she's saying I find really common because when I grew up, my parents were both people from Vietnam. They wanted us to assimilate as much as possible and not be made fun of. So I love Asian food too. But I'm from Texas, so I grew up on chicken fried steak and biscuits and all that kind of stuff. So I
country boy, country Asian.
I have felt pressure to date within my own race.
Oh no, this is where it gets good at.
2, 1.
disagree.
My
Half and
dad
half?
doesn't care. He's happy no matter if I'm happy. My mom never specifically said it, but it was almost like if I don't bring home a Korean or a Caucasian, which is her preference, like I don't know if she's gonna disown me. I don't know. Will she kind of push away a
Caucasian
little
or
bit
Asian,
from
so
me? And I don't want that.
My parents, at one point in time, were very heavily like, you need to marry like a Vietnamese person. But as I got older, I understood why for them, because it's more about, we just want to be able to relate to the person that you're actually with so we can talk to them too.
For me, it's really interesting because I'm actually married to a black woman. I'm Chinese Malaysian, but I grew up with a white father. Like, white people were definitely always an option, but then, you know, other groups of people, it's like, well, we're not really sure that they're like that great.
That often seems to be the case.
Okay.
It's like you can date white or Asian and everyone else off the table for some reason.
Wow.
That's tough.
Stereotypes are funny. 3, 2,
Asian
1.
stereotypes are funny. Woo! Everybody said no. She somewhat disagreed.
Are funny? I feel like, oh wait, somewhat disagree.
We're not judging. You can
What
choose
was
whatever
the
you want.
decision making in your head during
Well,
that
my
moment?
head is like stereotypes are a reflection of perceived behavior, and also I write comedy, and so I'm constantly thinking of ways to maybe subvert a stereotype to get a laugh. I feel like it's always dangerous though,
I think
because
stereotypes
you
are
never
funny.
know if the joke is going to be perceived as like, oh, they're making fun of the stereotype or they're reinforcing the stereotype.
But even then, you're saying, like, the stereotype itself is not funny, but your subversion of it is.
Okay,
So,
maybe I'll move down.
I think I'm just like tired of like Asian stereotypes, and jokes are so played out. If
Yeah.
it's the same shit that we've heard for the last 50 years in like American culture, then like miss me with that. It's so boring at this point. I don't find it funny.
Well, I totally understand from another point of view how that's absolutely inappropriate. But from a personal level, I'm not offended. I'm not hurt. Some of them are actually like, yeah, that's kind of true.
What's an example, I guess?
Yeah, actually, I might move again. Like for instance, me as a Korean, like if I were to say something about like how I feel like a lot of Koreans behave, like Koreans love K-pop, like boy bands. It could be funny, and it's not necessarily an offensive stereotype.
But growing up with like Asian men have small penises and all sorts of other emasculating kind of stereotypes. Those kind of stereotypes play into like, why can't I be the love interest? Because I have a small penis, but I don't actually know that, and why does it matter?
What you're talking about is like a stereotype that's been put upon Asians by non-Asians. If we Asians want to talk about like subcultures in Asia and like make fun of shit, totally down. Might find it funny. We'll see how the joke is. Totally. I guess like when you say, when the statement is Asian stereotypes are funny, I'm often thinking about Western stereotypes about Asians. And I'm like, no, it's not funny. You know what I mean?
I get that.
Asian people have it easier than other minorities. 3, 2, 1.
That's debatable.
When you say it has it easier, I think it discounts the amount of work that's gone into building those communities up. People working up towards, becoming professionals or white-collar professionals. Like, I don't think Asians have it easier. I think many Asians have just fought harder. I'm not saying the other communities don't. I think they have earned it.
I think that part of like how white supremacy works to kind of like cover up to say like, well, if this one group of minorities is doing so well, then there can't be racism in this country. We as Asian Americans have to understand that we are props for white supremacy when we buy into the idea that all of this stuff that we've gotten is purely through our hard work.
I do think Asians do have it easier just because we're not portrayed so negatively.
Yeah, we don't have as many like overtly like negative stereotypes that are like thrown at us,
Yes.
you know.
I mean, like, you look at immigration, and like nobody's freaking out about Asians coming into the country, which I feel like it's just been interesting to me to see, especially also like Asian Americans that are okay with it because it's not them right now. In that sense, I'm like, oh, we must have it easier because we're not concerned about what's happening to other people.
I would move to my heritage country permanently.
They move back?
2,
Yeah.
1.
See, they got a place to move.
Yeah. Ooh.
Super conflicted on this one.
Somewhat disagree.
I went to the motherland maybe like 5 years ago, and I thought that it was just gonna be like so much fun, and they were gonna like be accepting, and for the most part they are. But when I went there, I realized like I'm not from here. Like it was really pretty obvious.
I mean, I definitely want to connect to the culture that I was born into, but also a huge part of my identity is my queerness. And in Malaysia, LGBTQ people definitely don't have the same legal protections, if they have any protections at all. And so that is painful to know that if I went back, I wouldn't be accepted.
It's a funny thing that happens when I go back to China, which is like the feeling that I never get here, which is like when you walk onto a public street, you feel like you're not identified by what you look like, which is amazing. But that being said, like I feel culturally I'm American. I love being here, and I think that being like an individual with freedom is like part of who I am, in the sense that I wouldn't necessarily fit in China. And I feel like so much of the time we're like asked to be like, well, are you Asian? Are you American? It's like, no, like I'm Asian American. I don't think we have to be that or this.
I like that.
That's good.
Is important to me.
Asian culture.
2, 1.
Why is that guy always confused?
Yeah, it's important to me.
Why are you over
It's
there?
okay, we just want to know what you think.
Yeah. I mean, like I think about this a lot. Is like sometimes I forget that I'm Asian, and then like it's kind of jarring to be reminded that I am. And so like,
Were you raised like with strong cultural values and stuff?
I was raised, I'm a military brat. And so even though I grew up in Korea, it was on the military base. And so it was like an American high school in like a small American city in the middle of Seoul. Me and my brother were usually the only Asian kids. So I remember kind of like, do I want to stand out as like the only Asian kid, or do I just want to be another one of the kids?
I think there can be balance in that. And that was the biggest problem I had growing up, is that I didn't know if I wanted to be American so bad. I thought I had to choose a side, and then eventually I was like, look, both are part of who I am. But what has furthered this strongly agree part is that I have a 3-year-old child. He's half Chinese, half Vietnamese, and I don't want him to live with the confusion that I grew up with.
For me, like, it actually, I feel a lot of pain still and a lot of grief, because when we moved to the US, and you know, this was like in a time still where you need to speak to your kids in English. They have to just know English, and anything else will confuse them. So my mom stopped speaking to me in Hakka, and I forgot that language. And we also didn't really celebrate any cultural traditions, you know, Chinese or Malaysian, or Chinese and Malaysian. I have no idea what that really is. And so my culture is important to me, but I'm still like trying to find my way back to it.
It's like you grow up, you're like socialized to fit in, right? Yeah. And it often means casting aside like the culture that you grew up in. I feel like we're all experiencing it to some degree of like, hey, should I like look into like where I came from more? It's a great thing if you can be proud of where you came from.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we're connecting to that.
That was so fun.
That was interesting.
Oh my goodness.
That was very, very
Can I be friends with all of you on social media?
I would love to be.
All right. Pops.
Okay. Well, my opinion about Asian people. My thing is they no different than from the white or the black or the brown or the green or the yellow or the orange people. And the orange people is your people. So, you know, they're no different from that. Okay, yeah. What do you want me to say about it?
I don't want you to say nothing about it, how you feel. This is what I'll say. When they came on that question about do Asians have it tougher than other minorities, this is just my personal opinion. If y'all don't like it, y'all can go take a nap, come back, listen to it again, and you might. If not, it is what it is. I personally don't feel like there's only one group of people that can say they had it worse than black people. And that would be Native Americans.
Oh, the Indians, absolutely.
And that's because they got displaced in the sense of they was already in America.
Yes. Yeah.
And people pretty much almost wiped them out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We as blacks who, if we are able to trace our ancestry back to Africa, are people who even nowadays are still not given that benefit of a doubt.
Okay.
You know what I mean? What's crazy is I work with a girl who's like, I think she's 1/4 Indian, she said.
Mm-hmm.
And she said back in their, like, on their, I forget what you call them, the places that the government has given them.
It ain't a plantation.
Yeah, it's not a plantation. Whatever, you know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Comment in the thing and let me know.
I almost had
where they're at.
Reservation.
They're reservations, yeah. She said a lot of reservations are like hoods. Like they're not well kept up. There's a lot of drug and alcohol problems within these places. And this is something I didn't know. Once your blood is less than 1/8 of Native American, the government don't recognize you as Native American anymore. Right. So you don't get the same type of support or help or anything like that as other Native Americans because you're not looked at as a Native American once you get below 1/8. Or maybe it is right at 1/8.
So who determines that?
The government. This is what they put on. Anyway,
by where you how you born?
By who your mama and daddy is. You know, if your mom is half Native American and your dad ain't, when you born, you are only 1/4 Native American.
Because you take your dad's blood.
Right. Yeah. So when that person goes on and they 1/4 and they have a baby with somebody who's not Native American, that baby loses more and becomes only 1/8. So,
wow,
you know what I mean? But those are the only people I feel like can never say they had it worse than African Americans. But, man, it's tough because even they get the benefit of the doubt when they're out and about. You know what I mean? For blacks, it's still a real tough thing to be in America because say you out and about hanging out, you know, with some friends, 2 a.m, and something happens and police stop you and they decide to beat you up and all that. You know, and there was even an NBA player named Kyle Korver who said he was guilty of this, and now he's talking about it and trying to be more helpful, you know, when it comes to this type of stuff. But the first question that most people ask, especially white people, is, well, what was he doing out so late?
Yeah.
There's no benefit out given to anything. It's like you don't have rights. You know, you're automatically questioned.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When people get killed unarmed by the cops, well, what did he do to even be in that position? Yeah. Why does all that matter? I mean, if something happens to somebody, we need to have empathy or sympathy.
Yeah,
you know
and I agree with you 100%, son.
And so that was, when it came to this, was the only thing I feel I can really touch on.
Right.
The rest of that, you know, I think stereotypes are hilarious, you know what I mean? As long as you're not trying to be demeaning and you're not trying to hurt someone's feeling with a stereotype.
Right.
You know, like when people do blackface, that's a no-no.
Yeah.
But if you want to crack a joke about black people like chicken and grape Kool-Aid, whatever.
Well, here's the thing about it. They talked about the food. The culture of food that they had. You know, as far as their food, is their food better than American food? And I strongly agree that it is. Because if you look out, and every once in a while, unless you got a sumo wrestler, the big, most Asian people are small people.
Well, that's the thing, Pops.
I mean, something got to be doing with the food.
I don't think we've actually had Asian cuisine for real. We eat Chinese food and say, "Oh man, yeah." I don't think we've sat down and had no real Asian cuisines. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Well, maybe hey, listen here. I'll tell you what. Here's what we're gonna do. Can anybody give us a recipe? Because I'll make it now. I like to cook, so I'll make it.
We can try it.
I'll make it.
No offense, but I don't like their desserts.
No. We're going to eat it. We're going to eat it for a week.
I don't want none of... No.
Tornillo chowder?
Toenail. I don't even know what that is.
You know, if they give me a recipe to it, you're gonna eat some of it. But I don't know. But I often wonder how do Asian people or foreign people they stay fit and trim all the time.
I don't know, but you know what? This is another thing I want to say on that. Man, it's nice for them to actually be able to connect with their people. You know what I mean? The traditions they can pass down, the things that they can, teach their kids. I feel like I understand when their parents say, we want you to date this type of person.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's all about relatability, for a lot of them. But for a lot of blacks, we don't care who you date. You know what I mean? It is what it is, because we don't really have those traditions and such to pass on. As long as people ain't, all wilding out, like the orange man you talk about.
Yeah.
Then we usually are very, receptive to people of other races.
Yeah, that's true.
We don't.
In other words, it's not strange to us anymore. It was. Now, back in my day.
But see, it was strange because you wasn't allowed to.
Well, yeah, right. I mean,
what was that boy named that whistled? Emmett Till?
Yeah, no. We ain't having that. What you mean? And because my granddad would say, boy, you mean tell me? Now, he told me, now I'll tell you what you can do. He said you can marry somebody light, bright, and almost white. But it ain't going to be white, bro. I said, okay, granddad. So that's what I stuck with. Light and bright. And almost white.
Got you.
Yeah, so that's what I am.
That's what you are?
Yeah, that's what I'm married. But I went outside a couple times, one time anyway.
Before Pop say too much and get himself in trouble, y'all. We're going to leave it right there. That's all we're talking about. I got to keep him clean.
Yeah.
We're trying to keep a clean show. All right?
Yeah, we got it.
So, to all races and people.
Yes.
I'll let Pops finish what you should do.
Well, listen. By all means, be good to somebody. Mm-hmm. But most of all, be good to yourself.
And your race.
And until the next time, see you.